Alright, who would possibly come to my aid? And here we think of Gaston. So, hopefully this is where the story branches off and I don't have to do too much skipping now, so... Hopefully. I hope. In a hopeful manner. Okay, I'm done. Why did I think of him? I suppose the aid of any prince would be useful, but would he actually help me? Perhaps yes, perhaps no. I want to find out what is going on, but for now all I can do is wait. Chapter 5b, The Jester. The Jester. I sit on my prison bed, absently toying with a bit of loose string. I am not being mistreated. They've even remembered to feed me. Not pastries and tiger nut milk, of course, but not pig slops either. The amenities don't go so far as to include a bath, but, well, one can't have everything. Isolation is meant to be its own form of torment. In time it will be, I know that. For the moment, though, the solitude is peaceful. I've been kept on edge for too long, worrying about my future, worrying about Oscar, watching those around me for signs of violence and betrayal. Now it's all out of my hands. There's a kind of freedom in that. Memories, dreams, and fantasies swirl unfettered in my mind, replaying past events and imagining how they might have turned out differently. Not to obsess about what I should have done, but things that would have been too dangerous or ridiculous to consider, and the amusing outcomes they might have provoked. Imagine the scene if I had stolen that wig from the hands of Gaston's maid and tried to pass Oscar off as the lost princess. Would Callum have been fooled? Would he have taken Oscar for his lost brother Caspian? What if Prince Gaston had tried to romance him? So many possibilities. Lost in my thoughts, I haven't yet had time to grow lonely, and thus turn only half an ear to the sound of someone approaching. You? I don't know if this is Cassidy. Maybe? Me? I stand and peer through the bars of my cell, catching a glimpse of an unexpected face. Oh, Colette! You should be ashamed of yourself, you horrible beast woman! Beast woman? What? Isn't that Prince Gaston's maid? What is she doing down here? Well, we did think about him, so... Don't you know what you have done? Monsieur is inconsolable! I told him and told him that he could not trust you, that you are a thief and a coward. But no, he wanted to believe in your pretty brown eyes. And you let him! What are you talking about? He trusted you! You let him think that you were a friend, that you were helping him. He what? Ah, when he found me in his rooms. He asked me to find and rescue Cassidy and tell her that he had sent me. I had forgotten. He believed your heart was pure. Now he weeps and chastises himself for his folly. I'm sure you find this very amusing. You have no respect for a good man. I hope you rot. Ooh. She's quite a little firecracker. She turns to leave. Trapped in here, I can't stop her. All I can do is call out. Colette, wait! Is Prince Gaston truly that upset? What do you care? You are a villain. I can't tell her the truth and give my current position. And given my current position, she would have little reason to believe me. Of all the prisoners who claim to be innocent victims, how many actually are? Still, there may be some way to present myself in a more sympathetic light. I am in awe of Gaston. Wonder she'll buy that. Anyone who spends much time in that prince's presence must have become accustomed to dramatic statements. After meeting Prince Gaston, how could I wish any harm to come to him? He is so ebulliently masculine. I would never have wanted to crush that. You say this? You, who crept into his rooms like a spider to destroy him? But I didn't destroy him. Remember? I didn't do anything to him. I've kept his secret. And everything that's happened since, I didn't involve him in any way. Perhaps I did not have the purest of intentions when I broke into your room, but... once I'd come face to face with such a paragon of manliness, how could I possibly act against him? I do not believe you. I don't know, your face changed. Look, does it really matter why I care? I do, that's all. Maybe I can help. You wish to trick me. I will never release you. I don't want you to release me. I'm quite fine where I am, thank you. All I want to do is to help you cheer up Gaston. I'm not entirely sure why I'm bothering, other than that it gives me something to do. A little bit of harmless fun, and maybe a useful ear who can help me find out what's going on outside this cell? Yes. There are possibilities, and I shouldn't let them slip by. There is nothing that you could do to cheer him up. Oh no? Then think about this. Gaston feels upset and betrayed, but how much more upset do you think Princess Cassidy feels? She's been through a terrible ordeal. She needs his strong arms to lean on. You are mocking his fantasies! Only slightly. No, I'm not. Look, I ended up spending a bit of time with Cassidy outside of the palace. She really is sweet and innocent. And there were unexpected dangers outside. We barely managed to get her back safely. Right now is an excellent time for Gaston to offer Cassidy his support. She likes flowers. And butterflies. Why would you tell me this? So that maybe I can make things a little better for at least one person. I'm really not a horrible beast woman. I promise. And I'm not. Truly. But I am a woman with very few options available at the moment. Cassidy knows what really happened out there. I have no idea what her opinion of the cover-up is. She wasn't present at my little trial. She may not even know where I am. I can't risk being in contact with Oscar because it might damage his reputation. Cassidy is a different story. It is her family who's pulling the strings here, and they certainly wouldn't want to cast doubt on their own heir. Finding a way to get in touch with her could be useful, and this is one way to start. Perhaps you are right. Yes, if he thinks of her feelings, he will give up his despair. I hope it works. Will you let me know? I owe you nothing. But perhaps. And then she's gone. With my limited viewing angle, she only has to take a few steps to vanish from my sight completely. Well then, it seems I am not completely without resources after all. Of course, this could still come to nothing. There's no way to know. Thus, for the moment, I remain at loose ends. At loose ends, floating between moments without so much as a deck of cards with which to amuse myself. But that is not so terrible. I still have a window. My parents believed that children should be seen and not heard. This applied more to myself than to my sister, for she was older and heir, not just a child. In those lessons which we shared, I was meant to wait my turn while she asked the questions. In public, I was meant to listen, not speak. And so I did. I could sit in a chair for hours, never moving, never speaking. Easy enough if there was a scene of interest unfolding in front of me. Easy also if my seat allowed me a glimpse of the outdoors. Sunlight on leaves, grass in the breeze. Somehow the sight of these sets my mind free to wandering. I could be a rabbit leaping across the hills. I could be an insect with a pretty red and black shield on my back. Or perhaps I could be the fairy of dawn, painting each blade of grass with its tiny drop of dew. It has been a long time since I last remembered my daydreams, but they are still out there waiting for me. I stare out the window, lost in my mind, until at last darkness comes and I find sleep. It is the sunlight again that rouses me in the morning. For those first moments, I don't quite remember where I am, and roll up against the stone wall when trying to get out of bed. Then, of course, it all comes back to me. Nothing to do. Nothing to do but wait. I may as well go back to sleep. How often do I get the chance to lie in with my regular occupation? But, as I should have expected, it is not quite so easy to convince my body to return to slumber. Instead, I lie awake, staring up at the stone ceiling. I wonder how many blocks there are over my head. I could count them. 1, 2, 3... Colette? Excuse me, if you please. Colette! I climb to my feet, brushing back my hair as best I can, although I doubt anyone expects me to look my best in a prison cell. Good morning. As you say. I wish to tell you that Monsieur is somewhat improved. What happened? Did he talk to her? He insisted upon riding to Alala to find a market flower seller and assemble a fresh bouquet. Oh my. Then he returned to the palace, but the guards of the princess are under orders never to let her alone. They might not have even opened the door had Monsieur's voice not been so loud that the princess herself wished to see what passed. So it is well. He delivered his tribute. The princess, he saw her only for a moment. But now he sighs and remembers her touch against his hand. Well, he saw Cassidy, but he didn't talk to her, and none of my questions are answered. If I'm going to get anywhere with this, I'll need to push him further. You're very You're very fond of Gaston, aren't you? Of course I am fond of him. He is my master, and a good and kind man besides. But are you interested in him romantically? What? The music's just like boom. He seemed to believe that you were, but he has a unique way of seeing the world. Simply because you may have given me a little tip does not mean that we are friends. My business with you is finished. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pry. I know it's none of my business. It's only that I want to help. But if I help Prince Gaston secure Cassidy's affections and you have feelings of your own, then I would hurt you by accident. And I'm trying not to do that. Why should you wish such a thing? Monsieur is not your master. I want Gaston to like me. I need a new master. I hope this is the right one. Because I like your Prince Gaston. As you say, he is a good man. I wish for him to be happy. And perhaps to think a bit better of me for it. I would prefer that he remember me fondly. I'm certainly not in love with Gaston. I am. I've barely even met him, but she should sympathize with that line of thinking. There are a lot of good people in the world. Why shouldn't I want them to be happy and to like me? So cold. You are a very strange woman. I don't see what's so strange or cold about what I've said. You don't have to take my advice if you don't want to. But don't you want to make Gaston happy? I've spent more time with Cassidy than you have. I know how she thinks. I will listen. I promise nothing. The princess has been kept under close control most of her life for her safety. She's used to it. But she's starting to feel lonely and curious about the world around her. Prince Gaston should invite Cassidy for a walk and bring the guards as chaperones. She won't mind having them nearby. She didn't mind us all being in a clump when we were returning to the castle, after all. And if there are more assassins around, it probably is a good idea to keep guards close to her. Not only that, she's still shaken up from everything that happened. She needs to be around people she can talk to. Gaston should invite her to confide in him so that he can comfort her. You are very certain about what other people should do, no? I'm only trying to manipulate us. You are like a rat in the shadows. You move people around like a game. Uh-oh. For some reason, I appear to have rubbed Colette the wrong way. You say you are sorry, but you are not sorry. You do the same things that put you in this cell. That's not true. Well, it is true that I'm trying to manipulate her. And it's true that I'm here because someone is playing games. But I haven't done anything to hurt anyone. I can't lose contact with Colette now, or she'll never come back. What do I do? Appeal to logic or appeal to emotions? If it was Gaston here, I would appeal to emotions, but Colette can see right through me, so how about logic? Yes, I make plans and try to think of the best way for things to turn out. What's so bad about that? I'm confined to this room. I don't have anything to do but think. Plans are good things. Without a proper plan, disasters happen. If I had planned better, I wouldn't be here now. If I had known from the very beginning everything that would happen, then of course I could have arranged a different outcome. In this case, what's good for me is also good for you, and good for Gaston. It's even good for Cassidy. She'll be happy, he'll be happy, you'll get credit so you'll be happy, and maybe I will as well. And if you think I don't deserve that, then don't share the credit. Say it was all your idea. I don't really care about getting credit from Gaston. I want to reach Cassidy, and I can only do that through him. You think that I would do such a thing? No, say no more. You have done enough. Colette! It's too late. She's already gone. Aw. How ridiculous. Nothing that I've said or done offers the least bit of threat to her or to Gaston. It's all in their interest. She should want to work with me. She should be grateful for my assistance. But then, she is not a companion, only a maid. A personal maid, which is not a bad position, but neither is it one that calls for a great deal of training and education. The necessities of intrigue may be beyond her. I don't really know how to interact with such a person. Well, I suppose that won't be a problem now, will it? Dots. With the maid gone, there was once again nothing in particular for me to do. I don't feel much like sitting idle at the moment, so I pace a pattern across the stones of my cell. Nothing too energetic, not when I don't have the luxury of being clean afterwards. Still, it wouldn't do to let my body fall completely out of practice. Not that I have often been called upon to use my skills in the heat of combat. A good companion is a noble's last line of defense, one that should remain in reserve. I have more experience in sparring or chasing off boisterous drunks than I do in resisting assassination. I will defend what needs defending, but I could never become a fighter for hire. I could never kill for coin. Colette saw me as someone cold and calculating, but I do have feelings. I struggle with them. I try to keep them under control when they might become a distraction, but I know that they exist. I don't want to become a heartless person. Still, hearts and dreams are wonderful things, but someone has to be able to get things done. I work hard to protect the future of those who matter to me. To do that, I have to think clearly. After a while, someone brings me food. Bread, a bit of fish, and cold stew. Compared absolutely, it is a better meal than we managed yesterday morning. Still, I would rather be there at the riverside than here, if I had the choice. So many things that a person might want are completely impossible to achieve. If, for example, I wished that I had been born a princess, what good would that do me? That wish could never come true. I don't think I'd actually want to be a princess or a king's wisdom anyway. Look at Cassidy. She is just as trapped in her role as I am in mine. The great game plays with us all. Time passes. Time and time and time and time. I don't know if Colette is ever coming back. Wait, I think I hear someone. You? That's not Colette. Oh! Gaston!
How can such a creature exist?
Prince Gaston?
A vile snake. And a vision of loveliness. A traitor whose acts cannot be forgiven. A kind heart who has delivered to me a priceless gift. These things together in one body, it cannot be.
What gift do you speak of, my lord? Stop crying all the time.
Was it not your guidance, your treacherous, wonderful guidance that has led me to my beloved?
Ah, Colette must have told him. She was so angry when she left, I didn't think she would. I suppose I don't entirely understand her yet, but I am grateful. So you have been speaking with Princess Cassidy, my lord?
I have basked in the glow of her presence. These hands have held her even as she trembled. And it was you who brought her to this weakness. But it was also you who brought her to my arms. There must be something more behind this. Perhaps this is play acting? Could it be that my beloved princess has arranged all of this as a show, in order to guide the two of us together? No. No, my exquisite flower is not capable of spinning such a web, such is her purity of spirit. And she would know that it was unnecessary. She would know that she had only to call for me and I would come. That leaves you, still, as this thing I cannot comprehend.
My lord, you are correct. Cassidy is a gentle and innocent soul who would never risk harming another by deception.
You do not have to tell me this. She is my beloved, and I know these things. But what of you? How can you be yourself and also a villain?
It is possible that there was a trick played, causing a misunderstanding. Not by the princess, of course. Did she speak to you about me?
We spoke of you only briefly. Her gentle heart found it hard to dwell on the contradiction you have created. You betrayed her and stole her from the palace, wounding her fragile feet. And yet, your own swift action saved her from an assassin's strike. And so she spared your life as you saved hers. But without you, her life would never have been in danger. It does not make sense!
No, it doesn't. Something in that description rings false. I did fight the assassin for her, but overall that story sounds like Dolores. When you were talking to her about me, did she ever mention my name?
What? Your name? I do not remember.
You're not sure if she mentioned me by name?
I am not entirely certain I remember what your name is. I don't know if she mentioned it. That is not important.
It could be very important. What if Cassidy has no idea that I've been imprisoned? Oscar said that he and Callum and Cassidy were separated. Colette said that Cassidy has been kept under guard ever since. If someone told her only that the servant girl was imprisoned and not executed, she would believe that they meant Dolores. She would have no reason to suspect otherwise. Knowing that her kidnapper's life was not in danger, she would have no reason to intervene, no reason to visit the dungeons or ask any further questions. If that's true, then she's being manipulated by her own family. I need to get a message to her. And I think I have a plan. My lord, you wish to aid the Princess Cassidy, do you not?
Yes, of course.
Even against shadowy dangers and confusions? Even if it is difficult?
A man fears no shadow.
Good. I need you to deliver a message to Princess Cassidy. These exact words. Madeleine is in the dungeon. When you tell her that, she should tell you what to do next.
But I do not understand. You are Madeleine? My beloved already knows your sentence.
It is a secret code phrase, my lord. You must tell it only to the princess, and only when no other can hear you.
But if my beloved would not deceive me, then why would there be a secret?
The princess will explain everything to you, my lord. You must put your faith in her.
Of course, I will not fail her.
Good. This way, if for some reason Cassidy is involved in the cover-up, I haven't told him anything he shouldn't know. There is still potential for misunderstanding, of course. The workings of Gaston's mind are an unplumbed jungle, and I can't be sure exactly what he will tell her. I can't guess whether she will understand, or whether he will be able to answer any questions she might have. However, I have his measure now, and there is one thing I can depend on. Prince Gaston will do his utmost to serve Princess Cassidy. You should not linger here, my lord, not while there is so much afoot. Perhaps we may speak again in the future.
Yes, I must go. I must prepare.
Yes, you do that. As Gaston charges off in quest of a damsel in distress, I sink onto my flimsy prison cot, feeling giddy with the relief of a plan properly coming together. I am not out of the game yet. Even if my ploy with Cassidy fails, I have been instrumental in bringing Gaston and his princess closer to each other. There may be some benefit in that. Of course, it is not Gaston whose romantic interests I am meant to be serving.